Alright, so this is definitely Japan for sure. This was 2004, is the only time I've ever been to Japan. Actually, I was listening to this. I remember I was posing Lincoln Park here. Wow. Yep, this was after the Arnold Classic, I believe. Yeah, so a lot of these appearances, you know, we get booked around the world. I mean, bodybuilding, which people don't realize if you're inside the US, is actually bigger international, and Japan was one of these places they always talked about was an ideal destination spot. And one of these things we do back then is we'd guest pose and do meet and greets, seminars, whatnot. And unfortunately, during this time, I remember I actually got food poisoning, so I was probably, I believe, on the way there throwing up in the van. I pulled over and threw up outside the van before this guest posing. So I was, and I think I ate bad fish actually that made me sick. But you can see this was shortly after my third Arnold Classic victory, so it was 04, just before the 04 Olympia. But the crowd was amazing. The one thing about the international fans is they're just super receptive to, especially the US bodybuilders. And at this point I was on the up and up. I had been second at the Olympia a few times. I won 3 Arnolds in a row. And they were excited to see me over there. So it was just a great experience. Long flight from the US, but definitely worth it. One of those experiences that I'll never forget. So, you know, in standard with these guest posing routines, I'd kind of work the stage and go back and forth and you know, work the crowd. It was really, everyone was a little different because of the crowd response. And then of course I hop into the audience, which I'm doing right here. And people start going crazy, you see, because they never get to see this close up, right? So I stand on the chairs. That's one thing I did. I was a little crazy like that, but you can see these guys, they were trying to hang on to me. I was careful about that because sometimes you don't know how the reactions are gonna be, right? Yeah, people going crazy in the crowd. Of course, I get that dye on too, so I don't know if they realize that, you know, that stuff runs a little bit. But I remember going up in this audience and I was like, man, I can't get all the way up, because normally I can walk up through the back and I can go around, but look at the person gave me a hug. It's so funny. These are the days I miss actually the most, when, you know, people say, do you miss bodybuilding? It wasn't necessarily the competitions, but the guest appearances were the amazing part, because remember, this is the one and only time I ever went to Japan. I never got to compete there. And you see how receptive people are, right? They want to take a picture and be able to flex off and whatever else. But you know, you get so much response when you travel to places like this. You know, they get super excited to see you, and the people are just, you know, they're so welcoming in a sense. And I remember the craziest thing going to Japan that I never had to do before in the States was, it was shoes off in every gym. So I actually got to train with Hidetori Yamagishi at the time. He was still, I believe, an amateur at the point. And I had to take my shoes off to go work out in the gym with him, which I thought was crazy. And but the guest posing was the favorite part, man. I'm starting to sweat as I get through there. I jump up on stage. You know, when I watch these videos, it's kind of crazy because I forget, honestly, now being